and welcome to World Talks here on TVP World. Today we are in Katowice at the European Economic Congress. I'm joined by Dariusz Standerski, who is the Deputy Minister for Digitalisation here in Poland. Thank you for joining us today.
Good to be here.
So, we know that this particular conference is under the patronage of the EU presidency, which is slowly ending for Poland, but nonetheless it's something that is noted here at the conference this year, and we know that digitalization strategy is something that is being discussed this year and also as part of Poland's presidency in the EU. And I'd like to ask you to tell us a little bit more about what Poland is aiming to bring over this half year of its presidency from that perspective.
To be honest, that was quite busy time for our ministry and for myself as well. And that was a time for the great geopolitical shift within the European Union and for also transatlantic relations. And that's why our presidency is exceptionally dynamic. And what we are doing from the day one is to push the European Commission to invest more, to regulate less, and to bring the new energy within the European institutions. And I'm glad that I can say that we are on the same page with the European Commission right now, because thanks to the European Union Council presidency, we have today new investment for AI and other disruptive technologies. We have the new approach for regulation. For example, 2 weeks ago, I conducted the round table between European Commission presidency and alliances and associations of entrepreneurs, as I've learned for the first time in the history, to discuss simplification of the EU law. And we are the different Europe than 6 months or 4 months ago, because, for example, we have new investments in AI factories, including Polish investments for 100 million euros in Poznan. We work on even further investments in our supercomputers and our digital sovereignty within the European Union, and we opened the new chapter of collaboration between European institutions and private companies, because we are fully aware that enhancement of investment will be impossible without private capital. That's why we invited our largest companies to invest alongside European institutions. That's how the Gigafactories project was born, and we will work on that till the end of our presidency, and we use every day until June 15th that's left for our presidency. There's a lot of work, a couple of successes already, and we energized the European Union, and that was quite a busy time and a different perspective also for the European Commission.
Well, the conference here has a whole panel that is dedicated to digitalization strategy, and the Minister for Digitalization for Poland will be speaking there. And there's a lot of focus on digitalization, obviously technology and legislation, which all go together. And earlier you mentioned that one of the aims was to regulate less, but to take digitalization further. Can you tell us a little bit about how you can regulate less while implementing more digitalization?
Yes, indeed. We have observed that today we can use 21st century technologies, but we still have a burden of 19th century procedures. And our administrative law is from the different era, from before the internet, before AI. And for example, when we take the new rules on the Digital Services Act, this act is for better moderation of our content in the internet. And under this act, there was already 10 billion pieces of content under this enforcement, and when we take it into the Polish market, we would have 800 million cases for moderation. Where if we expect that 1% of those cases will go to our administrative courts all around Poland, we would have 8 million cases within our judicial system. So we need to ask ourselves if our legal system from the mid-20th century is ready for this series of millions of cases for our contents. Obviously not. That's why we need to bring automation, and we need to bring new technologies to our administrative procedures and to our judicial procedures as well. And that's the way how digitization can support simplification of our regulation. And another example is how we report as entrepreneurs, as also institutions, all our activity. Today we need to fill more than 20 different documents and bring it to the institutions. How in the world, with the era of AI and automation, we still need to fill all those papers? It's no necessity to bring it at all, because all our institutions have those informations by default. So that's why digitization can be hand in hand with simplification and deregulation. And that's how we need to bring the 21st century to our administration, and that's the direction that we are going in right now, alongside with the European Commission, because we'll hand to the EVP Virkkunen whole package of simplification rules, because we already finished our consultations with the entrepreneurs. We need to do it together, and that's how we can increase our productivity, and we can cut the red tape which is in the European Union.
So do you think that the Polish presidency will be forever associated with a lot of simplification when it comes to digitization, with technology and the legislation connected with that?
Polish presidency already is connected with the acceleration of investments, because as I said 4 months ago, we did not have AI factories all across the European Union. Now we have billions euros of investment in that. 4 months ago, we didn't have gigafactories project. Now we have it on the table. And the second part of our presidency needs to be dedicated to the simplification, and we have will have the exact document in our hands, and we put it on the table for the first time in the European Union history, because all across decades we have only more and more regulation. Now it's time to build the coherent and simple digital legal system from those packages of regulations, independent from each other today, because, for example, GDPR rules, our data protection is not connected with the AI Act. The companies don't know which role is more important. We need to change this framework, and that's why we conducted our roundtable for simplification. That's why we will hand European Commission in the whole document on simplification, and that will be the legacy of our presidency: investments and simplification.
Well, that sounds very good. I also wanted to touch upon AI. Perhaps in a slightly broader sense as well, because AI evokes mixed feelings. Some people are great fans of it in terms of implementing it into their personal lives, in work, in the office, and others are a little bit more wary of it. Can you tell us a little bit about your thoughts in terms of AI technology as a boost to the economy, the Polish economy, the regional economy, but also about how Poland is going to manage that in the short term, maybe a little bit further into the future.
No matter what our position on AI is, everyone using emails, search engines, even writing short text messages, everyone uses AI already. We are aware of it or not,
Yes.
but we are using it right now. And what's the key right now is to implement AI solutions within our companies. The best possible way for each company, the different for the financial institution, different way for mechanics, different way for plumbers, doctors, but every company, every profession can use AI to enhance its productivity or cut the costs.
What about those who are worried that they might lose their jobs because of AI?
The AI technological revolution is not the first one in our economies, because we experience since the early 19th or even earlier the new waves of the technological revolutions. We had it with computers, we had it with the internet, and the AI is the next chapter. Every technological revolution created new jobs. 100 years ago, most famous economist in the world, John Keynes, expected that we'll work much less at the beginning of 21st century, that the workload that we're gonna have will be like 10 or 15 hours per week, and that will be enough. We know our experience that we are working even more than our grandparents. So that's why new technology creates new jobs as well. For us, and that's for politicians and that's for policies, is to create those jobs early and to implement, not to cut costs, but to enhance productivity, to produce more, to bring new services. And that's what we are doing right now, especially by working on the package of support for our SMEs in Poland. That will be the package of about 500 million euros for SMEs to implement AI. But we are also working for implementation for citizens, because the government already developed the PLAM model, that's Polish large language model, that's fully public AI model. It's owned by the Ministry of Digital Affairs and it's open for everyone. Everyone can download this model. And last week we finished our tests for our mCitizen, mObywatel app. And we know that it's possible to run our app by the AI. So in the near future, in a couple of months, we'll not be forced to find our functions in mObywatel app by ourselves.
Totally, yeah.
We will just ask our virtual assistant how to manage our issue, how to change our ID, how to find how many penalties we have to find, how much we must pay with our taxes. All of that will be available by just talking with our virtual assistant. That's because of AI. And AI implementation opens new possibilities for our companies. No matter what sector, we can develop our productivity on many ways, which are still not discovered yet, but that's the job for our entrepreneurs.
Okay, that sounds very, very positive. Okay, Dariusz Standerski, Deputy Minister for Digitalisation, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of World Talks. Thank you for joining us and stay tuned for more on TVP World.